All right. Thank you very much for having me on your interview Saturday.
Yes, George. Welcome, George, with the Cuban Guys. I love all of the logos and everything behind you. So we have
Thank you.
started this about a week ago called Small Business Saturday Series. And we are interviewing small businesses in South Florida to give you exposure so that as people start going back out again and businesses are reopened, we want them to go spend money at places like the Cuban Guys.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
So can I have a bunch of questions I want to ask you, so we're going to jump in, okay?
Absolutely. Excited about it.
Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know what the Cuban Guys is, please share with the audience what is it? Or like, do you sell cigars, guayaberas? So
Well, as you can see, I have my cigar box right behind me here in my office, and my guayabera is always on me. So, the Cuban Guys is a fast casual Cuban restaurant. We own and operate 4 locations plus a food truck here in South Florida. One in Miramar, one in Hialeah, one in Hialeah Gardens, one in Kendall. And we always had, my partners and I, Enrique Santos and Isaac Sklar, we're very proud of our Cuban heritage. And we wanted to bring our Cuban food to everyone. So that's why we kind of said, okay, we're very Cuban. We want to kind of bring our Cuban heritage to everyone across the country. So let's call our restaurant Cuban Guys. And that's how the name came about. Particularly, I've been in the restaurant industry all my life. I worked for big chains. I started my career with the restaurant industry out of high school with Burger King, where I grew up through the chains. Then I went up to Boston Market, where I ended up being a regional manager running Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. But my dream was always to have my own chain that serves the delicious Cuban frita, also known as the Cuban burger, and also the Cuban sandwich, the world famous Cuban sandwich. So one day my partners and I got together and we said, you know what, let's go with the dream, let's make it happen. That was 8 years ago. We opened our first location in Hialeah Gardens, and we've been growing slowly but steadily ever since.
I love that story. I love the frita and I love the Cuban sandwich. So,
all righty. Wait till you try our steak sandwich, el pan con bistec. It's one of the best in town.
Oh, I have to get that the next time I come. So, how many square feet is your typical store?
We're looking at the prototype that we are averaging going up right now is anywhere between 13 to 1,600 square feet. Preferably end cap, if not an inline location would do as well. I'm sorry?
Any drive-throughs?
No, we purposely left the drive-through out. Even though we're a fast food kind of thing, you can come in and get your meal. Our average service time is anywhere between 5 and 8 minutes, depending on the size of your order. However, when you're sitting in a drive-through, 5 minutes can seem like an eternity. We pride ourselves on cooking to order, so we don't have the food waiting for the customer, which in drive-through situations, that's how it is. You have the food already cooked, and when the drive-through customer orders it, you give it to them. Being in the industry for so long, that always bothered me, that the food at times was not as fresh as you wanted it to be. So I said, in my concept, I'm going to let the customer wait 5 minutes, but I'm going to give him just out of the grill food, and that's how we do it.
I love that. Okay, so you mentioned you've been in the restaurant business your whole life. When you were 8 years old, you remember that? 8 years old, 8 or 9?
It was quite a while ago, but I have good memory.
Were you an entrepreneur? Did you do any like cutting the lawns or baseball card trading, or were you an entrepreneur when you were a kid?
I had it within me, but never practiced it. As a matter of fact, as I was going through school, and you know, when you're in high school, you have to do a career research report. I always wanted to be a dentist. So I wanted to be a dentist. I don't know why. I just wanted to. My father is a doctor, and I didn't want to study medicine. So I say dentist is pretty close. And through high school, I did everything to be a dentist. I was working at Burger King. And when I got out of high school, I went on to college. I started doing my requirements to go into dental school.
Wow.
And I continued working for Burger King, and I was a manager of Burger King and going to college, getting my requirements for what I was hoping to move to Gainesville to go to dental school. Then my girlfriend got pregnant, and I said, you know what? I am going to stay within the restaurant industry. I love what I'm doing, and I switched my major to restaurant hospitality, and here I am a few years later.
Wow. Where did you go to school? College?
I went to Miami-Dade Community College and FIU.
Love
Local.
Homegrown, George, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm so glad you changed from dentistry to restaurant because the dentist, it's the worst. I would go to any other business, any other place than a dentist, right?
Absolutely.
Dentists have the highest rate of suicide ever in any.
I'm telling you, people hate going to the dentist and people love coming to Cuban Guys.
You've got to be happier having this business than being a dentist.
Absolutely. My father always told me, find something you love and you'll never work. And I don't feel like I'm working. At times, my wife says, you're a workaholic. You're always working. I say, no, I'm not working. I'm just checking emails.
That's my problem, too. My kids say that. But so when did your family come over from Cuba?
1980.
Okay. So you were how old?
I was 12 years old.
So
I have fresh memories of Cuba. You know, as a 12-year-old kid, you remember growing up, the park you learned how to swim on, the sports, the neighborhood friends. I remember everything about Cuba, and I love it. I love my upbringing. I wish I could go back to those days.
And your dad was a doctor in Cuba?
Correct, yes.
Then came over here and also was a doctor.
Well, unfortunately, my dad stayed in Cuba. I came with my mom and my sisters. And he couldn't leave because, you know, being a doctor, they didn't let him out. So my mom and my sisters came, and we all made South Florida our home.
And South Florida owes a great debt to all of the Cuban immigrants who came here and had the business acumen and the entrepreneur drive that you all have had to change South Florida.
I absolutely think the reverse. All the Cubans owe a huge debt that we will not ever, and actually Marco Rubio said it once, we will not be able to repay it in our lifetimes because they offered us freedom, which is something that we did not have in our homeland. So I feel eternally in debt with the United States and with South Florida for opening the arms and letting me fly and teaching me how to do it.
Wow, I'm touched by that. My ex-husband is Cuban, as I shared with you. His name is Jorge.
Okay.
And 50%, and from a blonde-haired Norwegian girl from Wisconsin, my in-laws introduced by my first experience going to Versailles.
Okay.
You know, the traditional Cuban restaurant, and they introduced me to Mariquitas and
I hear your favorite is lechon asado.
I love lechon asado. But I like we have not been able, so up here in one of my son's favorite is Casa Romeo, which used to have a location in Hialeah Gardens. I don't know if they still do.
I'm sorry?
Casa Romeo, which...
Yes, I am familiar with Casa Romeo. They're really good.
So, but when I'm in Dade, I come to the Cuban Guys. So you guys have to come up. I know your brokers, Joel and Alan Bennis.
Yes.
They've got to find you some locations up here in Broward County.
Absolutely. And, part of this conversation is COVID-19. And, I truly believe that, we will get out of this, and we will get out of this wiser and stronger. And I've been talking to Joel Bennis about finding us some good second-generation restaurant space that we could have a simple conversion and, being able to grow again as we had initially planned. And I truly believe that we learned from this experience and we will come out the other end much stronger and much wiser.
What's the number one lesson you feel that you have learned from COVID?
You know what? Actually, I've been thinking about everything that has happened. And the one thing that comes to mind as you ask that question is don't ever let your creativity rest. Through this hard times, we have been forced to reinvent ourselves, and in the process, found solutions to problems that we had prior to COVID that were really breaking my head. And, since they were not pushing me against the wall, I was, I got to fix this, but never came up with an idea. Now with this situation, you know what? If you don't fix it today, you'll die. So I was able to reinvent ourselves and come up with strategies that solve problems I had prior to COVID. So on the other end of COVID, I am better equipped now to grow and materialize what my plans were.
That's awesome. So did you say you have 4 locations and a food truck?
Correct.
So what is the future of food trucks post-COVID? You know?
That is a great question. It's all speculation. I can tell you that I truly believe that it will kind of re-emerge because the food truck industry had a heyday and it was very popular. And then, some of the people in the industry did not care about quality. Some did not care about price structure. And some were overpriced. Some were great and awesome, and they're still around. So it's been a roller coaster ride on the food truck industry. At Cuban Guys, we decided to get a food truck to be able to bring our brands to places where we weren't before. For example, our food truck today is in Homestead. I don't have a location in Homestead. And I said, let me test the waters in Homestead. Maybe that's a good area for our Cuban Guys. And boy, oh boy, I was there 3 weeks ago, and I've been coming back and back because my Instagram gets blown up. When are you back in Homestead? When are you back in Homestead? So we're giving the Homestead folks a taste of our Cuban flavors. And now we know that Homestead needs a Cuban Guys. Right. And that strategy for food costs worked great. Then it also evolved to company events. I have companies that have 40, 50 employees, and they want to cater their food. And they say, you know what, bring the food truck over, and we'll invite we'll pay for our entire office. And people go, man, I've heard about Cuban Guys all the time. I follow you on social media, but I never go to your stores because I don't happen to drive by there. And now once you give them that free and they taste it, they make it a point to drive the extra 15 minutes to go to Cuban Guys. Right. So it's been a win-win situation for us. But as a whole, the industry, I think, is going to revive because some people are still skeptical about going into a restaurant and sitting in a dining room. So I am thinking at the end of the day, food truck rallies where you're in the open air, you buy your food and you eat it on the open air and the kids play around in the park. That scenario will probably pick up some speed.
Right. Well, a couple of things. So I think that, they're talking about the regulations that are
Give me a second, I have to adjust the audio.
Are you okay? You can hear me?
I can hear you. Perfect.
So, with the new regulations of office building, I think food trucks may come into play possibly because there's going to be issues with eating. They're not going to share refrigerators in their offices. I mean, there's so many things. So I think that could be a driver. But I do want to invite you to come to my shopping center that's outside of Hall and bring your food truck maybe on a weekend where there's 28 million people at Sawgrass, and I am right in front of Sawgrass.
Oh my God, that could be a huge success. Right. And that would let me know that Cuban Guys needs to open a location in that area.
Exactly. And the Sawgrass tells me that 40% of their customers are Latin. So your customers are not Latin too.
Well, let me tell you the theory behind Cuban Guys. When I spoke to my executive friends from the companies that I worked before, and I said, I'm going on my own and I'm opening a restaurant, a Cuban themed restaurant. I said, what's the name going to be? I said, Cuban Guys. 50% of them says, why are you putting the Cuban food, the Cuban word in it? People are going to think it's for Cubans and they're not going to stop. And then 50% of them said, what a great idea. people are going to see the word Cuban, and since Cuban food is so sexy and so attractive, they're going to flock to your place. And that's what my thought was, so I was in defense, and I said, you know what, I'm doing the Cuban Guys name, and basically that's the purpose behind it. Let the world know we're Cuban and we have authentic Cuban. Come check it out. 20 years ago, the generation was more skeptical about trying new flavors and new food. As a matter of fact, I had customers go to Boston Market and eat the same chicken with corn and vegetables every single day. And my mind was, man, doesn't that customer get tired of the same flavor? Doesn't he want to spice up his life a little bit? And you know what? Today's generation is all about adventure. It's all about, let's try that new restaurant and see what it is. Maybe I love it, maybe I hate it, but let's try it. And I think that change of mentality on generational flavor preference is going to make us strive to do better, and we're going to be thriving in the next few years.
I 100% agree. So I was going to ask you how you came up with your name. So did you vote, the three of you vote on the name, or did you guys just know right away?
I said it, let's call it Cuban Guys, and my partner said, wow, that's it. That was the first name that came up, and it stuck.
And then and you went with your instinct, as people were like saying, no, don't call it that. You said, we're going with our instinct, right?
I went with my instinct because from the minute it came to my head, I knew it. I said, you know what? I want the gringo in Ohio, opening a Cuban Guy in Ohio, saying, come over here and try this Cuban burger. Whatever it is awesome. And that's what my long-term goal and actual dream is, to be able to open the Cuban Guy chain outside of Florida and give that taste profile to people outside of Miami.
That would be awesome. So in 10 years, how many Cuban Guys do you guys want to have open?
I always overestimate because I'm a big dreamer. I said I want to have 100. But if I land 25, I'll be extremely happy.
Well, I especially with your great brokers you have.
Yeah, thank you.
Got to get something up here in Broward. Okay, so a lot of the people, so I know we have a lot of your audience on, and I have my audience. My audience are leasing agents. I know you said,
Okay.
You've heard, you've watched some of the things I've posted. So I have a question that I want you to answer, and this is directly for my audience.
Okay.
You know what the word canvassing?
Well, from a marketing standpoint and business sales standpoint, I feel that canvassing is when you wanted to go out and touch and meet as many new clients as possible to be able to introduce your brand or service or product to them in hopes of expanding your horizons and doing business.
Exactly. So in our world, can you see my hat?
Yes, I can.
So I'm called the Canvassing Queen. So in our business, to fill vacancies in shopping centers, I teach leasing agents that they have to go knock on doors to businesses, and as long as it's not your peak business time, walk in and say, hi, I have shopping centers in the area. We're looking to fill vacancies. What are your expansion plans? So my question to you as a business owner, if you were in one of the Cuban Guys locations and a leasing agent walked in, how would you feel if it wasn't your peak time, you didn't have 30 customers waiting in line? How would you feel about that?
I love it. I love it because I am not actively looking, but if a great deal comes to me, I'll jump on it right away. So, I would definitely welcome it. Even if it's in the peak time, I'll give him my business card and say, I'm interested, call me at 3.
There you go. I love that. Well, I teach them to not interrupt during peak time, and a lot of them say, no, I don't want to go bother the business owner because like I'm interrupting them. I said, you're not interrupting them. Most entrepreneurs believe that when they open their first one, that they have an American dream to open 100 like you.
Absolutely.
We are the catalyst. We are the conduit to make that happen along with your tenant rep brokers.
Let me tell you that from a restaurant owner right now, I can tell you one of my top 3 challenges right now is finding the right location. Because when you find the right location, the price is not right. When you find the right price, the location is not right. So in order to find that balance between exposure, parking, price, It's not easy. So if you have that in your hand, I'm pretty sure that if you go out and show the world, somebody's going to jump on the opportunity. If you have the balance of right exposure, right price, and the market needs something like that, by all means, I recommend you guys do it.
You know, coming down in the near future.
I'm sorry?
The prices will be coming down in the near future.
And that is what I am expecting, and that's why I spoke to Joel and say, please be on the lookout, because having the opportunity right now, unfortunately, and some restaurants are not going to make it. I mean, restaurants have razor thin margins, and prior to COVID-19, we were just living paycheck to paycheck. It's just the nature of the beast.
Right.
Some restaurants have more sales, but have more expenses. At the end of the day, a restaurant does, you see a restaurant dining room packed and you say, those people are printing cash. Not really. They're making 10 cents on the dollar. And, and then you have another profession that in a transaction can make $1,000. And when you tell them that you make 10 cents on a dollar, they go like, how do you do it? It's the nature of the business, and some of us enjoy doing it.
Right. Well, like you said, like what your dad said, find something that you love and you will never work a day in your life, right?
Absolutely.
Have you heard of an event that I co-chair called the South Florida Independent Retailers Awards?
I have not.
So the last 2 years, we have put on an event called the South Florida Independent Retailers Awards, where we nominate entrepreneurs in categories as the best of in South Florida. It's like an Oscars Awards for small businesses.
Oh, that is so nice.
And the last 2 years, we have it in Davie at the Signature Grand, and we've had 30 to 40 nominees. And the room is filled with real estate brokers and landlords who vote live on the screen for the best Latin restaurant in South Florida. And,
nice.
And we've had 300 people at the event the last 2 years. So I'm hoping you're going to be nominated this year, because you get to meet with Joel and Alan, can be by your side as you meet with 100 landlords that will provide opportunities for you to expand.
That would be wonderful. Absolutely. And if I'm not nominated, I still would like to come by and check it out, because it sounds like some fun event to be at, and meeting people and networking with others.
Are franchise, or are they all corporate stores?
We are all corporate owned. We own all of them, right?
Because we don't. To be a nominee, we don't want franchises. This is the right criteria. We like businesses founded and based in South Florida. Check. 2 or more locations. Check.
Check.
Expanding. Check. So you have everything.
Yep, that we do.
So I have I have something to do with it. So I have a very strong feeling you'll be nominated.
Oh, that is awesome. Thank you so much.
It's so much fun. And again, you get exposure all in like a few hours. We last year we had a Shark Tank event where 3 landlords were on stage with Vicky Bakery. Vicky Bakery won the year before for Best Bakery. You know Vicky Bakery.
Okay. Absolutely. In Miami, in South Florida, everybody knows.
Right. And they were the business. And the 3 landlords pitched to Vicky Bakery their locations, and Vicky picked which one they were going to take. And right now, Vicky Bakery is about to sign a lease with that landlord that they did on stage live.
Wow, I would love to do that. Yes, absolutely. That sounds like fun, and sounds like a good business decision deal too. I mean, if you have landlords trying to give you an opportunity to get their space, that's definitely fun.
Right. So we're going to do it on November 4th. So mark your calendars.
Month of my birthday. I won't forget.
Okay. All right. So I have one last question for you. Unless you want to tell the audience anything else. I know, is frite the best thing? Like, what's the most popular item?
Well, when we open up the restaurant, my heart belongs to the Cuban burger, La Frita Cubana. And we have an awesome frita. We won last year Best Frita in Miami by the Miami New Times. And that is my baby. I love it. I eat one every other day and never get tired. So the idea was the frita is going to be the queen of the show. And once we opened, our steak sandwich is so good that it kind of creeped up, and now we're 50-50. I don't sell more pan con bistec, and I don't sell more frita. They're neck to neck there.
Wow, that's so now you have the king and the queen.
Exactly. The pan con bistec and the frita, the queen and the king.
Okay, so the last question is this. As we reopen, and you may have already done this, what would be the first restaurant or the first business you're going to go spend money at that's not the Cuban Guys?
Well, restaurant, I love all restaurants, but outside of the restaurant industry, what I've been itching to do is going out on a charter fishing. I'm going to rent a charter boat and go fishing because I haven't done it in a long time. And now during the quarantine, I had some extra time in my hands and I wanted to go fishing and I didn't because charter boats were not working. So once we get out of this mess, I'm renting a boat and going out fishing.
Awesome. Okay, George, such a pleasure. I hope I've got you tons more customers. I'm going to talk to Joel because I want you to bring the food truck up to Sawgrass.
Absolutely. Make it a plan because I would love to. We'll talk again about it. Thank you so much for having me. And it's great doing this. Thank you for all you do.